Actually, I don't even know. Never mind. Super excited to talk to Robbie Phoenix. Robbie, my man. Ready when you are. I can't hear you at all. You're on mute.
I'm just kidding. All right, that's better.
Talking. Yes, that is much better. I can actually hear you.
Good God. It'd be more interesting quiet sometimes, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we do that all our lives, right? Talking to ourselves.
That's the idea, anyhow.
Yeah. Awesome. Let me see. So we're doing a podcast recording.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a light you can use for your face, or do you want to stay in the dark?
I'm okay like this. Unless you feel I should like back up like this, maybe?
Then I can't see you even more.
Ooh, okay. Sorry. You need to definitely come here and help me out. That's what it sounds
All right.
like.
Okay. Let me book my flight.
Yeah.
And get the gear ready. Let me send you an invoice. We can get it
Invoice.
done. But you're traveling next week.
I am. I'm out of town. I'm leaving day after tomorrow, like 6 a.m.
Okay.
to go to Vegas. And that's a whole songwriting venture.
That's the whole
And then
song, right?
yeah, it's with 2 Grammy award winning songwriters. And then that's Sunday. And I'm meeting with an event planner in Las Vegas Saturday, by the way. She's freaking amazing. She's had her own TV show and all this.
Wow.
Super, super amazing woman. And so that's Saturday. Sunday songwriting. My speech is going to be Wednesday, but I've got to kiss a bunch of babies at the conference Monday, Tuesday.
Sure.
So
of course, we gotta kiss some babies. I kiss
it's a
my
shame.
baby every day, man.
Oh, the only thing I've got to kiss is my puppy and this little thing.
This little thing over here.
The Denver Blue Bear, you know?
You went and got one. It's
Yeah.
it's the most fascinating thing to see.
It's awesome. It's so novel, and it's like you kind of go downtown and you go, what is this doing here?
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
Mason, like it's Freemason, I'm sure.
So there's 2 options. One, we do your studio.
Yeah.
And then we do the podcast.
Oh. Well, hey, I mean, honestly, I'm okay with this. Like this gear's been around, bro, since I moved to the state, literally. And I could give you like a
I didn't
tour.
say anything about the gear. I love the gear.
Yeah.
We just
The
need to throw,
lighting.
we just need to throw a light on.
You need light, camera, action. Trust me.
That big light box that you had in that studio.
Yeah.
Just need to go grab one of those and put it behind your laptop.
Oh, dude, you know what? I should do that. And you know what? It's funny. God, that's like that's quite a distance from here. I'll say that. And I don't know that I could pull that off right now.
Okay. No.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you go do that right now.
I was gonna say if it's that bad, geez, you know.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm being very mean. I'm not.
No, it's not mean. It's just you're probably used to a certain standard of production, I assume.
I mean, I'm sure you are too.
Yeah. I mean, this is a day in the life, though. Like this is authenticity.
But we could do the before and after.
Yeah.
Right? So this is the before, and then when Robbie worked with Janae, then made the studio.
Finally, yeah, I got to the real big time. Live Nation's not big enough for you? Is that in your show? Is that it? What you're telling me?
I didn't say anything about Live Nation at all.
I'm still pulling your tail.
I know. I'm Sony. Like, what's going on?
I don't think Sony's
but
big.
I'm glad that we're. But I'm glad that we have this kind of rapport already. Like this is our second call. Like
I know this is awesome. Your guests are gonna love it. It's gonna be so ridiculous. It's gonna be like,
Right.
let me think. Beastie Boys meets like, who's the mogul? I'm trying to remember this guy's name. He was like a music industry mogul. Oh, David Geffen. So you're David Geffen, and I'm
Okay.
the Beastie Boys on this show. That's how that's gonna go.
Oh my God, it's gonna be fun. All right, so if you've seen any of the videos that I've been sending you for the past week, awesome. You
Yeah.
already know what we're doing, what we're gonna do.
Yep.
I love it. Because sometimes people don't watch those videos. I'm like, oh, I already know this. And then they don't stop talking for like a whole hour. I'm like, okay, did you want to say something? Because
This is what you do to your guests when they do that. Ah. Come on, man. Give it up. I'm putting the mute button on now.
actually, that'd be pretty fun. Sorry, I can't hear you anymore. What, did you mute me?
That's perfect. I've done that to
Literally, there's a
vocalists
mute. Like I
before.
can move my mouse or cursor over there. Like there's a mute button on the window, right?
Maybe there's a better angle. Maybe I don't know. You tell me. Oh, that's probably a little better like
Just a
that,
little
right?
better, yeah. There
Yeah,
you
maybe
go.
we do that. And that still kind of looks like a studio. Yeah, it does. I could hang my guitar over there. That's an angle. See,
We
your
just
consulting's already paying off. There.
just to can you see it be lowered? Because then we're
Okay.
just having an interview to the across.
I'll go down like this. Or I go on this prop and we can kind of go like that. But then you can't see me really, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So go back. So here's what we can do. Because you got a lamp where you're sitting.
Yeah.
We'll just need to turn off the light behind you then.
Okay. And that'll increase sensitivity for that lamp coming into my
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God.
formatter. Okay.
Your camera was struggling with that one.
Yeah,
You're
maybe
like,
that's the
Who do
issue."
I highlight?"
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's right. That's
It's
exactly how the tech
it's a little
works.
better. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Coaching 101, man. You're probably really ashamed now. You're like, how do you take a stage like that, bro? You don't even know lighting. Lighting.
It's like, dude, look, okay, look, I'm a rock star.
Yeah.
I only play the guitar. I don't know where the lights go, okay? As
You know,
long
I
as you can
swear
hear
to
me.
God, I know this is embarrassing as hell, and it's true because I drive the bus too, right? So that's the one thing I have going for me.
Mm-hmm.
It is not the prima donna thing, I assure you that. But when it comes to lighting, you're right. I don't want to deal with it at all.
Mm-hmm. Like I can play this guitar with my eyes closed. Why do you need lights?
Correct. Really, they can just hear it's sonic octane. That's what it is.
Oh my God, I love this. This has to go in the green. This has to go in the episode.
Why not? I'm fine with that. I have no issue with that at all.
All right, guys. That was Robbie. He's gonna be coming on the show. So you guys just get ready.
Buckle in.
All right, sweet. Welcome back to another episode here on Hacks and Hobbies. And today I'm super excited to introduce you all to Robbie Phoenix. I've met this guy like twice on Zoom calls, and we're already pulling each other's tails and telling long tail jokes like it's SEO business over here. I'm kidding. Robbie, thanks for coming on to the podcast, man. How you doing, brother?
It's awesome, man. I just got off tour with Slash and everything's awesome.
Look at that. He's just dropping in those names, just got off tour with Slash, talking to this MTV producer, making things happen because, guys, Robbie is definitely the guy that you want on your side when you're creating some epic. Robbie, tell us what you do, man. Tell the audience what you do, because obviously I didn't do my homework.
All right, it's fine. I don't do my homework either. That's why part of me is being an artist, and you're not supposed to do homework. So I like that. That's authentic and keeping it real. So
Yeah.
there are two sides of Robbie Phoenix. The one is I'm a competitive intelligence expert that's industry renowned. I'm award winning, and I brought in $250 million to two Fortune 100 companies through leveraging creative advantage for their competitive advantage. And by that, I served multiple roles. The one big one was I was an intelligence lead and founder for Verizon Business's mid-market enterprise division, and brought in over $100 million in that role, direct contribution through strong teaming and a lot of people around me helping, obviously. And the other part of it is I was then recruited by another Fortune 100, what was then Level 3 Communications, which is today Lumen Technologies, brought in 120 million plus in that role with a bunch of C-level awards and industry recognition in that role. So that's the one side of Robbie Phoenix. The other side is I work with industry titans. So when you think of AT&T and Broadcom, when you think of other industry titans in the entertainment field, so Live Nation and Sony, I've worked with them all and a lot more. And what I do is I teach businesses and typically executives within those businesses how to compete to win. Basically, you're in a marketplace that's competitive. There's technology, there's market landscapes and products to consider and services and value. I teach these executives how to kick ass. And ultimately, I
Nice.
brought in $250 million to show it with them.
Dude, $250 million. Check that number. That is a number not everybody can say that you brought to a company. That's amazing, brother. You're an executive coach, a strategic marketing advisor. How did you get here? That is the story that we love to dig into. And you've got some really good ones, because in the green room and in the last conversation that we had, you got a lot of stuff happening, man. And I'm trying to remember how we even got connected. Yes, LinkedIn Live. I think it was somehow LinkedIn got us connected, and
Yes.
so excited to be part of your world, man.
Well, thank you. I'm honored. And by the way, I have to borrow your lighting the next time we do this.
Yes. Next time we're gonna send over a light kit for Robbie to use
Yeah.
for
This
his
studio needs a serious
studio.
upgrade on this,
We're
the
gonna
aesthetic
do
side.
an upgrade, and we'll have a before and after shot for all of y'all to see.
Like, to keep it completely honest and humble, like anyone that's listening to your show, they're probably like $250 million WTF, right? How do you get there? And I'm going to tell you exactly how I got there and be very honest with this with no ego and humility before God to tell everyone this. I started my career broke. I lived in my in-laws' house. I was saving to have my first apartment, and my
Mhm.
wife was in a social worker job in Philadelphia, making about $15 an hour, and it allowed me rather to have a commute of 100
Yeah.
miles every day on a turnpike that was expensive. And because of that pressure, it kind of molded me into saying you got to work your butt off, like
Mhm.
literally, to succeed. So I built a team of 15 people around me that was part of that success. They clearly were part of my track record. I know every name to this day and what they did and their titles and how awesome they were. I became the top salesperson nationwide. And when you learn a lot in sales, you learn a lot about end customers and solution selling and positioning, articulation,
Mm.
presentation, all that stuff. And then I moved into tech support for another 5 years. And in tech support world, you've really got to know network architecture. You've got to know at a deeper level the technologies and how they play
Yeah.
and codecs and all this stuff. And eventually that led to me asking questions, a lot of questions. They were logical questions. Why is AT&T kicking Verizon in a market like Philadelphia, which was one of our major markets? And
Mhm.
they were beating us at retail rates. So I did a lot of homework on that. I spent a lot of time studying the cost models for AT&T and their services. I eventually started cracking the code with other friends that taught me how to build marketing campaigns using
Nice.
TerraSQL data and some weird stuff. But at the end of the day, how did I make it? I worked hard. I
Mhm.
researched heavily, and I was very humbled to learn around me with everybody that I met. And I was one of those people in the office late at night. I was in my office typically in Philly till 1, 2, 3 in the morning, or I was at home working remote on my couch and I was getting
Yeah.
texts and calls at 11 p.m. So that's how I kind
Wow.
of made
Well, I think you were working late because you wanted to avoid the traffic,
it. Well, yeah, I mean, that was a thing even back then, right?
right?
Yeah, like JFK Boulevard is not kind to commuters and it's a wind tunnel. Like if you've ever worked down in Philly and you're having to walk towards like Arch Street, where the building happened to be
Uh-huh.
that I lived in and basically work. They say work and live. I say live and
Mhm.
work the way I did it. and you could literally chip little golf balls and literally hit the Comcast building from where I was. And it was
Oh
on the
my
18th
God.
floor where I happened to be. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I love that, man. That story was powerful. I mean, hard work is definitely something that you want to put into your own livelihood. I mean, without hard work, we can't really get anywhere.
Correct.
And then you added the smarts. You brought in all the smart people around you so you can absorb from them. Kind of like it actually reminded me of Henry Ford, because
Wow.
Henry Ford, right? He dropped out of college. He's like, I'm only going to do this, but he somehow ended up hanging out in these masterminds with top-notch people, and he just absorbed all of the things. And guess whose name we still read and nobody else's that was in the mastermind?
Right.
Ford, right? He's got the Ford
Correct.
company, everything else. Like, we all know that history. Man, I love that. So hard work, bringing smart people around you, build this persona of being humble and being able to start the conversations and keep them moving forward. How did you then would define so as this journey molded you, right? Not just molded you, but you molded yourself with this journey, you started seeing success.
You know, it really came down to the simple elements most people know, and it's balancing somehow your personal life in that if you can, right?
Mm,
So it's not just the hours and the hard work, that was a part of it. And I'd bring home a lot of work with me, not only on weekends, but vacations and certain evenings,
yeah.
you know, when the kids are resting, that kind of thing, when I was a younger parent. It was also really about leveraging the creativity and being your authentic self. This is something in corporate America that's actually a little bit of a missing ingredient at times.
Mm,
And I consult with a lot of Fortune 1000 clients, by the way, and I work with them on that because, you know, diversity or employee resource groups are wonderful outlets for people to express and kind of identify with their identity and
yeah.
administrate to something good in the community, let's say for goodwill. But at the end of the day, there's not this catalyst or bridge that exists for people that are not only business professionals and somewhat entrepreneurial, somewhat creative,
Hmm.
yet also don't necessarily have the knowledge or the ways that the tracks
Yeah.
within talent development and leadership to accelerate their contributions. And that's the part, I mean, I'm just crediting back to all the leadership that was around me and the people around me at the time.
Yeah.
They made me successful. They allowed me to be myself. They allowed me to design custom marketing campaigns that absolutely didn't exist before I got into those roles. So that's really when you get down to it, you need a network of people around you that identify a little and believe a
Yeah.
little, and it gets a lot easier.
You are 100% right. No tree can survive without having deep roots. And connections that we make with people, the relationships that we build with people are essentially the root system that helps you stand and get to where we want to get to. So that was
Correct.
beautifully put, man. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So as you're creating the life that you wanted, right? Leveraging your creative advantage, becoming a competitive, what were the things that you still use to this day, right?
This
Because
is a
sometimes
real
like, oh,
thing.
I've done this, I'm over that.
Right.
But then there's a little bit of things that you're still bringing around because those were the core, I think core memories or core energy that keeps us going.
It's a beautiful question. Honestly, it's very introspective and real. So I think there are three elements that I've used that have worked for me, and it may be a little different for some.
Hmm.
First thing was being my authentic self and leveraging true creativity in the approach of my work, right? So that's a
Yeah.
real thing. And the second part is really the techniques. So when you're a professional fighter or you're a professional ski boarder
Yeah.
or a tennis player, there's certain techniques in your repertoire that need to be honed in and fine tuned. I was
Hmm.
fortunate enough to have been a top salesperson, right? I was
Yeah.
the top 10% engineer nationwide at Verizon as well. And so I knew as kind of my jump rope routine, I can actually do triples and I can go
Mhm.
in front of clients and value position effectively. I can also break down the architecture and the technology to compete to win. And I also, for that matter, because I'm a competitive intelligence true expert, I know what their prices are on the ground, how
Mm.
they incent and promote their services, and how we position plus and minus against that. So, in a very authentic way, I could go in front of any audience
Yeah.
at that point in my career and go, look, at the end of the day, here's how it really plays out for you as an end user. Plus and minus, we may not always be the perfect fit, by the way.
Sure.
That's okay too. We can be a part of your solution and participate there. So, this is the element of what I use today also in the music industry.
Yeah.
So you start with the top down, you look at the market, you see that artists aren't making it on CD sales, obviously, and they're not making it on
Wait, they're
streaming.
still selling CDs?
Well, they do it on the road and they make
Okay.
their own kind of thing, or they go independent, so to speak, and they,
Yeah.
make $5 a CD net, whatever that is. But it's not going to pay your diesel bill.
No.
It's not going to pay your tour costs, and it's not going to pay your marketing. So you got to keep it real and understand the market dynamics and drill down to those competencies I just mentioned to succeed. And that's
Yeah.
really the key.
I love that. Throughout this, I keep saying this so we've gone past the origin story. We're in the thick of it, right? You've made it and you're like, all right, this is a good place. I'm liking where I am right now. What and then at this point, it's hard to point out what's your motivation,
Right.
right? Because you've kind of made it. You're like on this top of the mountain.
This is
What
so funny. I
right?
know. I know. I get this asked all the time because they go, and don't hold back. We're friends. You can tell me
Right.
straight.
Like, so what keeps you motivated? Like going, okay, I've made it here, but then you got to come down that mountain to climb yet another one.
Correct. It's a million percent true. And I'll tell you exactly how. And there's another interview on my LinkedIn page that reflects a little bit of this too. Because
Nice.
I knew an entertainment attorney that was global that brought me onto his show some years ago. And he asked me the question. He goes, Robbie, you're phenomenal. When I knew you in corporate America, you made $250 million. You have a
Hmm.
good living. What are you doing going into music? And I'll tell you exactly what it was. So I used to volunteer in Las Vegas for homeless. I used to participate in serving community between my drives from Los Angeles and over to Denver while I was moonlighting, getting back into the music industry and working
Wow.
in a corporate life. So while I was doing all this, when the Mandalay Bay tragedy happened, the Harvest
Mm,
Music Festival massacre, to be very specific, that was my calling. That's when I knew I had to serve a greater purpose
mm,
that meant something to the hopefully Americans, maybe not the world, but as Americans, we shouldn't be attending music festivals and having 50 caliber bullets raining down as a blunt front force trauma on the very soul of American music experience. And that was my calling. That was the turning point that I said, I'm going to have to invest in this. I'm going to have to
mhm.
do a lot of things and learn, by the way, how to become a line producer and an executive producer
There you go.
to self-create music. And that's when we had an opportunity to partner with Live Nation to do that.
Man, I love the I love your philanthropy of your time,
Mm.
right? People say, "Oh, I'm a philanthropist because I spend money." But what we don't realize is that you can be a philanthropist of your own time by serving the greater good.
Well, thank you for that. And, I would say there are many ways to participate in the world and give in and give back. I'm at a point in life where I want to build legacy that
Yeah.
actually means something. So the music platform of my band, Sonic Octane, is exactly that. We talk about the underpinnings of violence in America through
Mm,
very subtle, tasteful motifs or things like big pharma or things like, gun violence is a real thing to this very day in America. Unfortunately, it's a real
yeah.
hot topic. We're
Yeah.
not super political, right? We're not going to tell people what to do with their lives. We're
Mm,
not statesmen or politicians or people in advocacy groups that are a little more educated there.
yeah.
Yet, as artists, we can elevate the social discourse and raise the right questions through our music and film. And that's what we do.
Man, I love that so much. Through music, we have moved mountains. I mean, one of the oldest song that I can remember that did the same thing was Michael Jackson, Heal the World,
Right.
right? And I'm sure there's a lot more songs. That's the only one that stands out.
Sure, sure. Yeah, we are the world. you know, Live Aid, right?
Yeah,
These were monumental efforts
yeah.
that took thousands of people involved. And that's at scale. Like my ideal, we take the content we filmed, which is
Hmm.
exclusive footage. It's high def, it's pro editing, and it's a film festival quality edit. It's not like your
Hmm.
typical music video that you might have seen on MTV Headbangers Ball back in the day.
Sure.
And this stuff is beautiful. It's like David Lean meets Lawrence of Arabia, and Dr.
Hmm.
Zhivago meets a rock band, kind of. And the music sounds to me and some others that I've heard like Nine Inch Nails, Stone Temple Pilots, like that stuff.
Yeah.
And it was an unorthodox approach. You don't have rock bands renting out major Live Nation real estate in a prime market like Las Vegas after a massacre. The,
No.
with the acts of God you get for filming permission, by the way, to do that, you need tremendous trust to pull that off. And I had a team of 18 people, including myself, that were working and hired to do that. And
Nice.
so it was a different approach. And again, back to your question earlier about, how do you ladder between, being Robbie Zias, the corporate intelligence lead, competitive
Yeah.
intelligence expert,
Yeah.
which was such a tremendous career, and it truly was, and it was a privilege, to this thing over here. Well,
Hmm.
it's leveraging creative advantage again. So I didn't
Yeah.
go to selling CDs and
Right.
putting everything on Spotify and losing our shirts. I went to
Hmm.
independent filmmakers and synced film deals. And we had 30 million song plays as a direct result of that first deal
I love it.
because of people that we knew and trusted us, believed in us. And so literally we had 30 million song plays in our first deal with a daytime Emmy submission. So that's
Check it
that's
out.
kind of how this works out.
I love it, man. Hopping from mountain to mountain. You basically had a helicopter, right? You just grabbed, and music created um that sonic ladder. I love it, man. This story is amazing. Thank you for sharing, man. This has been really powerful. Let's take a quick break, and then when we get back, you're gonna share 3 hacks to take away with the
Absolutely.
audience. Hey guys, welcome back. We've been speaking with Robbie Phoenix, the rock star for your creative advantage.
Correct.
Robbie, this has been so much fun, man. I hear you've got a few hacks to share with the audience.
I may have a few hacks. How about you hack first, though? What's your hack?
My hack is to sleep when you can,
That
because
works.
it is the free drug that we all get that's going to give you the competitive advantage on everything else.
That's a fair statement. So, my first hack of the day is, again, going back to the interview here, be your authentic self. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Like corporations, in my example, it could be any example in your lives, but they have a way of like the walls come in like this, and it's back in high school almost like, hey, you've got to sit at the cafeteria with the guys and gals in product that are really cool, that know their stuff, that are at the same table like a couple times a week. And it's like, come on, man. Like, really? Is that you think that's how business really gets done? That could be, yeah,
Mm,
some. And maybe you want to be friendly to them. But by the same token, just be yourself. Don't have to follow the flock and
yeah.
have the same feathers every time, because you'll stand out. People recognize you for being authentic, for the fact that you are who you are and how you do what you
Mhm.
do. That's my first hack. I'd say my
Love it.
second hack is definitely always follow your dream. And I don't mean dream as in like a cloud and angels and teddy bears and gumdrops. I'm talking about like a dream, a passion that's realistic to attain. Because, certainly transitioning from corporate life as a competitive intelligence expert into music was a fairly heavy transition for me. And I had people around that were mentors. I had Rick
Mhm.
Shermer at a Hollywood viral brand. I had Michael Beckman, Relentless Entertainment in the film industry. I had people around me to help, but you got to be realistic about laddering that in, and you may have to moonlight for a number of years to get there,
Yeah.
build those relationships.
Love that second hack. Number 3.
Number 3, I think for folks who are a little bit older in life, let's say, like myself, care for your health. So don't overwork yourself. Like, I have definitely tripped on that learning in my life, in corporate life. I've absolutely tripped on that in music. So
Mm-hmm.
in my music world today, as a keynote as well, I am maintaining operating tour bus as a business. I am running the band with all the creative and all the management piece right now, which
Yeah.
is huge. I'm also the business lead for all the bookkeeping and all the filings, regulatory filings. And then, as if that weren't enough, I'm flying around public speaking. I'll be in Arizona next week for the Strategic Competitive Intelligence Professionals in
Nice.
Telecom Conference. So definitely care for your health and don't set that aside and overwork too much, because
I
there's a
love
lot
that.
more life to be had.
Yes. No, health is absolutely very, very important. And as I said, mention sleep as being the number 1 hack. It's human beings, and this is something I learned today. Human beings are the only species in the whole world that sacrifices sleep over productivity.
Yep.
Quote.
Yep. And caffeine's not going to fix that. I've
No,
tried.
it's not. No, it's not.
I've actually tried that for a year.
Didn't work. Darn it. All right. Let's jump into our rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Number 1. What is the one hobby that you wish you got into?
I'd honestly have to say I'd love to get more deep into jet skiing. I've done it a few times.
Nice.
My son took me to Cabo in
Yeah.
December, and he even rented a jet ski for dad, which is unbelievable, generous for him. And I just would really love to get into that world more.
No, man, that's so awesome. I mean, hopping on top of water. Come on. It's like walking on water because that's the closest you can get to water without being on it. I mean, there's the jet thing that you can strap your feet on. But I think jet ski is pretty awesome for sure.
Dude, ride the waves and just go.
Yeah. All right, number 2. What did you want to be when you were a child?
Literally who I am today. My brother
Boom.
and dead serious, like my brother and I used to play around in our basement with
Yeah.
it. We'd invite all the neighbors over. Hey, there's a play, there's a concert. We'd make little tickets out of like this kind of stuff. Literally,
Nice.
we'd write on it, and we'd go down to the basement with like, a light bright, and we'd go down with like a Battlestar Galactica, and just like we'd play with stuff, and we'd make like little plays like we're acting or playing in a band. And the
Nice.
next thing flash forward into our teen years, we're playing instruments. We're actually playing in bands together for 6 years. So the music was always a critical part for me. And the other part
Yeah.
I'm serving is my intellect, right? I like to kind of know that I'm connected around the things that I do,
Yeah.
and then I can help others in that. So that, there's a tagline we say in the band
Hmm.
as Robbie Phoenixx, one love, one music, our world. It's because we should love each other like brothers.
Yes.
We do have one music in our hearts if we're playing it well. And
Amen.
our world, like we have a pretty tough world out there right now. And I
Oh,
think
yeah.
we all need to stick together and help each other out.
You're 100% right, man. You're 100% right. And I love that. I love that so much because like you were playing music, I was listening to music and then I was like, I want to be singing, right? So I had a little bit of experience, just a teeny tiny bit. And then I was like, okay, I can't remember my lyrics, so I guess I'm out.
Dude, they're monitors now. You can do it.
I know.
Come on, man. That's your hack.
I know. That's my hack. Actually, at Social Media Marketing World, they had a karaoke thing. I don't know if you saw that video of mine.
Yeah, I
I was
did. I
playing.
saw it. That's what
All
I'm
right, you did
saying.
it. That's right. That's right. That was
I
fun.
did my homework.
That was fun. That was fun. All right, next up. What is your favorite movie or TV show?
For me, movies have to be like film narrative art. So I
Mm.
lean in on like obviously Dr. Zhivago, Lawrence of Arabia, old school, new school. Hmm. You know, I love a lot of Robert Redford, Clint Eastwood films because they have
Ooh.
cinematic excellence.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not so keen on some of the CGI, AR, VR stuff,
Mm-hmm.
even
Mm-hmm.
though it's fascinating and it's certainly an art unto its own.
Yeah.
So that's favorite film. And then favorite music, you say?
TV show.
TV show. Oh, okay. Well, to be funny, obviously Seinfeld is one of my faves. The Simpsons, not that I watch them frequently, but when I do, I
Sure.
just tune out and I love it.
Yeah.
And then lately, my wife and I have been watching Yellowstone
Mm. I
with
need to
Kevin
check out
Costner.
Yellowstone. I've been thinking about it. Yeah.
Man, talk about beautiful America, man. And that's the
Yeah.
way I know it touring in the band with Sonic Octane. You actually see Kansas, Wyoming, North and South Dakota exactly like they portrayed. It's beautiful.
I love that. Man. All right. Next question is going to trip you up. I don't know if you've ever seen it before. What movie would you choose if you, Robbie Phoenix, got to play a character in it?
This is easy. Ha! You thought you got me too.
I know.
So I've written a pro forma book,
Okay.
and it's not on me, so I wouldn't be that egotistical. However, I was also once upon a time asked to begin scoring my own movie.
Ooh.
So it was fascinating because I could use not only rock music where I sit, but
Mm-hmm.
like Katy Perry and maybe Justin Timberlake, maybe
Yeah.
like Usher. And I
Uh-huh.
started pulling all these elements together because it fit the narrative of how do you start a rock band?
Oh my God.
And it's unbelievable tripping and learning. So obviously I wanted someone hot like my wife to be the actress. So in my heart, I'd love to say that I bring the motion picture to life and Katy
Mhm.
Perry will be my actress wife. Well, that's
There you go.
easy.
There we go. I love that, man. Sweet. But what's the name for the movie? Do we know it yet?
Well, I also have a documentary that is in fact in the works right now. It's called Mission America with Sonic Octane. And it's gonna
Nice.
be a slow crawl to get it done. I'll tell you, we have a lot of interviews to do. Maybe we can assist and partner on that incidentally.
Hey, I'd love to do that. I'd love to partner in that for sure.
Yeah.
All in.
And so the motion picture is currently titled Mission America with Robbie Phoenix.
Okay.
So that's just, pro forma. We'll kind of see, if we get investors around it, how they feel about that in the script.
When we get
When?
investors. Yeah.
Ooh,
Not if. If
yeah.
it's something like, I don't know this gonna happen. When it's like we're just waiting on that time.
Well,
I like to have this positive focus, forward facing,
positive,
mindset.
right? Positive.
Yes.
So, yeah, exactly. My spirit animal is a bears, by the way. So you just tripped over a big thing. So I don't know the timing. What I would tell you is I worked nearly a year in Beverly Hills, and that was 2 years ago at the behest of what was then the largest independent filmmaking company.
Nice.
And so I learned a lot about that world. I have not pitched this yet. This is kind of lower on my radar. Right now, I'm really focused on keynote speaking,
Hmm.
executive retreats, executive coaching, and then complementing the band's workflow in that to
Yeah.
bring that as a pull through entertainment factor.
I love that. Man, I love that idea.
It's
Keynoting.
awesome.
It is an amazing idea. All right. Let's move on to the next question. I say rapid fire like loosely, right?
Okay.
Who is your favorite superhero?
Superhero. Ah, all right. So,
I guess that question gotcha.
that's a tough. Oh, I know. Okay. So because I was a competitive intelligence expert in corporate life, and I kind of like subtly and benignly resented the idea of fitting in and having to wear Brooks Brothers every day and just, oh my God, right? So I used to walk in with black t-shirts and, like kind of funny enough, I'm wearing one today.
Yeah.
And I didn't care. Like I'd wear flip-flops and ripped up jeans. If they didn't like me, who cares? Because I've got an audience every 2 weeks in an intelligence briefing anyhow. That's
Hmm.
senior leadership. So I really believed in this authenticity thing over time. It took many, many, many years to build that in
Yeah.
me, by the way. And so for me, my superhero, my go-to is Iron Man.
Oh,
So who would
yes.
want to be Tony Stark all day long?
Exactly.
So I used to call
This
myself
guy.
Tony Stark of the boardroom because I'd go in there and people would ask me stupid questions, candidly, because I was well researched. And
Hmm.
I'd be patient with it and trickle through my Rubik's Cube or whatever it was I was doing. And I kind of lay it out for them a little bit more with some authority to do good in the world, obviously, to keep them humble because they're leaders and they have egos.
Yeah.
And you just kind of went in there and did your best to let them know that, yeah, there's someone at the other side of this table that doesn't manage at a senior exec level, making, 3, 4 times what I was making.
Hmm.
However, I brought in $250 million. So yeah, I have your audience today and you're all mine.
Love it. I love it. All right, last question in this rapid fire series. If you were a board game, what would it be?
Hmm. I'm not going to say Teletubbies. I'm not going to say, like, that's the easy part of
That
the
is
answer,
not a
right?
board game. They
Oh,
never made a
good.
board
Thank
game.
God. Or I'm not going to be like Care Bears either, right? Okay, that's not on the table.
No.
Uh, Gosh, this is weird. Like Uno, because it's quick and it's fun and
Yes,
anyone
but
can play.
Uno is technically not a board game.
But you have to play it on a board or on like a table, right?
It's a table. It's a tabletop card game.
All right. So okay, probably Monopoly because I like the dog. First of all, the dog's cool. I always try to get the dog when I play.
Yeah.
And it was a childhood game that, in fact, one of the very few games in my inner family that we used to play every so often. So I would have to say probably Monopoly.
That's where you got the smarts. Hmm.
Some of it, yeah, some of it absolutely came from my home and my parents, no doubt at all.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Love it, man. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, where can the superpreneurs listening here find you and what can they expect?
Absolutely. So my primary, start texting, my friends. It's real simple. It's a 5-digit 33777. Just text Robbie, Robbie. That's it.
Nice.
Text 33777 and I'll connect with you. You'll get a free download as part of that engagement. So if you're looking to compete, to win and leverage your creative advantage for your competitive advantage, that's how you reach me. And then secondarily, you can always find me on LinkedIn. And that's LinkedIn/in/Robert Zeas. That's Z as in zebra, EAS as in Sam. And
Love
if
it.
you want to find me in the music world, I'm on Sonic Band Fan on Twitter. We have over 21,000 followers today.
Oof. And by the time this episode drops, probably 25, 20, 30,000. Who knows?
Bada
We're
bing.
going to get to there, right? Well, Robbie, this was a ton of fun. Thank you so much for being a guest here on Hacks and Hobbies. You've got a ton of hobbies and you've actually done them. So kudos to you. We here talk about hobby as the #1 mental health manager. And that's something that we need a lot of because all these shootings that are happening all over the US is the lack of mental health. And you are helping with the cause that you're focusing on with music, with touring and all those amazing things that you're doing. So thank you so much for bringing your heart, bringing your soul, sharing with the audience here.
It's my pleasure. And by the way, I'll be back to haunt you soon.
Yeah. This
I
is
will
gonna
on a
be fun.
guitar. I'll just play some guitar and it'll be loud and stupid.
Yes. Awesome. Well, Robbie, thanks so much again, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Rock and roll, one love, one music, our world. Robbie Phoenixx.